Alright, welcome. So today we have ZHA here. It's been about half a year since I've done a video for him, so I figured I'd go ahead and do an updated build video for him for Season 3. So let's get right into it. I do want to cover a couple things about his abilities that you should definitely keep in mind when you're building your ZHA, in case if you're new to the god or you're just new to Smite. So for ZHA, obviously he's an assassin, and when you think of an assassin, you're probably thinking of like Bakasura or Kali, where you're building a lot of lifesteal, you're building a lot of attack speed. Well, for ZHA, it's not the case. He's more of an ability-based assassin, meaning he relies on his abilities for damaging, getting close to targets, and his ultimate, it hits really hard. And you get all your healing from your passive, so you can build up your passive by both doing auto attacks, and what a lot of people overlook is you get an additional stack for critical strikes. So another reason why to go into crit items is to get more stacks, and that way you can get really huge heals once this is all at 20 stacks. And heals for a lot. And about attack speed, in case when you can't kill your target between your 1 and your ultimate, then you can go ahead and pop this for 55% attack speed, which his basic attack hit progression is super hard. The last hit in that 4-hit combo, it hits so hard, and then you get additional crit from it. And so yeah, it's a pretty good kit overall. His 3 can also crit. This ability can crit, as the last sentence says there. And his ultimate, if you haven't used it before, you crit 3 times, and to enhance that damage from the crit, you can go into Deathbringer, which directly affects crit, just makes it hit even harder. And as well as he does have a nice little protections debuff here, 15 per hit. Don't overlook this, and as well as a nice slow and movement speed increase. So to chase down targets, you can use your ring toss. Hopefully you can land it, as well as your 3. So enough of that, as the warning warns us that we're being idle too long. Let's get to actually building for ZHA now. For ZHA, his build doesn't really change from game mode to game mode, but let's just go into Conquest real quick. If you're playing ZHA in Conquest, more than likely you're jungling. If so, definitely go into the Bumble's Mask. This is the go-to starter item for jungling. And if you are laning, let's say maybe the solo lane, then I can recommend you go into the Bluestone Pennant. So this allows you to, once you throw your ring toss, it does more damage. Often you can see this Bluestone Pennant paired up with the red pot. This allows you to gain 20 additional physical power for 5 minutes. However, it is a little costly, so if you do die with it, or you don't get a good enough lead, then you're basically 450 down in gold compared to your opponent. But that's pretty much your best bet. ZHA's early game clear isn't really that great. That's why you see the Bluestone with the red pot, just to kind of enhance that. So let's just go into the Bumble's Mask for now. Next, going into boots. So we're looking for a lot of power to enhance our critical damage, and that best bet is just to go into Warrior Tabby. No need for any other boots. After this point, you often see the Jones Wrath picked up right after your boots. The reason being, relatively cheap for all the great stats it gives you. This item is really great for physical gods that are ability based, like ability based assassins, like your hunt bats and gods like that, as well as warriors. So this item, high physical power, the mana, the complement, the cooldown reduction, and the 10-5 pin is great. And with the cooldown reduction, allows you to obviously use your abilities a lot more often. And with ZHA, his ability times, or the cooldown timers, are a little bit lengthy, right? 12 seconds, 18 seconds, a little bit lengthy. So just to help that out, just go into the Jones Wrath. After this point, you have a good variety of items to go into. If you want to go into more of a utility item, I sometimes see the pros do this. However, I'm not the biggest fan of this. I like to just go straight damage for my ZHA, but I can see the wisdom behind picking up this item. It's super cheap for a lot of great stats that ZHA can make usage of all of the stats. If you don't want to go into the haste, into the Winged Blade, then you could go into a defensive item if you really want to. You can go into the Breastplate of Valor, allows you to not get bursted down by hunters, or if you go to Tower Dive, you won't, die as quickly. And as well as the main point of this item is the cooldown reduction, the additional 20%. So between this and the Jones Wrath, you have 40% cooldown reduction, which is the cap. So you can just spam abilities away. And you don't feel as bad if you're missing ring toss, because it'd be back up even sooner. So if you don't want to go into those 2 items, the third optional defensive item would probably be Void Shield. This is additional like protection shred, and you could be tanky like you had the Breastplate of Valor and more physical power. So if you don't want to go into those 3 defensive items like I would just go straight into crit. I'll just go straight into the Deathbringer. Some people prefer rushing the Malice over Deathbringer. It's totally up to you. I prefer the Deathbringer just because the passive directly enhances the damage of your ultimate, since you are critting 3 times back to back. In that case, if you go into Malice first, when you crit multiple times in a rapid succession, the timer for it can get kind of like overridden, if that kind of makes sense. So in the end, you basically get both these items anyway. So I'll just go into Deathbringer first. After this item, depending on how far ahead you are and how tanky the enemy team is, if they're kind of decently tanky and you're noticing your ultimate's not doing much damage, you really want to enhance your damage right away, then I would go into the Titan's Bane. This allows you for 33% physical penetration, so it's great against objectives and tankier targets. And it can allow your crits to just shred right through protections. And then after this point, you can definitely go into double crit items. I would not go into rage. Not too many times are you really auto-attacking your opponent down. Mostly you're just looking for a lot of physical power, and I'll just go to the Malice. Of course, the starter item, you can sell it whenever you feel like you don't need it, and you can pick up any other item. Most ZHA players will probably pick up another pen item, or maybe a defensive item that they wish they picked up earlier. So personally, I'll just go for all damage, and I'll just go to Baldur's Beast Stick. You're not really looking for this item for the passive, you're just looking for the power and penetration. While the passive, you can make usage out of it, obviously, since you do use your abilities for damage quite often. And this is your basic build. For other game modes, it's the same build like Arena. For Arena, obviously, you don't need a starter item, so you just go straight into your boots, your Jones Draft into the rest of the build, and it's just the same build. As far as like Assault, if you get them in Assault, most assassins that are ability based, you would just start with the Yoan's Wrath first. Reason being, it gives you the cooldown reduction, it gives you all the good stats early on. After this, you just go into your boots, and then again, rest of the build. So that pretty much wraps it up for ZHA. Pretty much covered everything again for the defensive options. If you want like a defensive item, Winged Blade, Breastplate of Valor, and the Void Shield. Maybe Shifter Shield because it has a lot of power and buff protections. If you're getting bursted by magical gods, or you're fighting like 4 magical gods, or whatever the case, where mages are just blowing up your day up, then you can just go to the Burg of Hope. If not that, then maybe the Genji's Guard, since this is almost like the breastplate equivalent for magical protection. And that's about it. For relics, it varies according to your playstyle. If you don't want to use your 3 to initiate, you can like blink ult, you can do something like that. Or you can use maybe like meditation for assault. Sprint's pretty common. Purification, this is really great because he's not CC immune at all. Maybe during his ultimate. Let's see if it glows yellow. Yeah, so he is CC immune during his ultimate, but not all the times do you want to use your ultimate to like get out of Hades or get out of Ares ulti. Instead, you can just go to purification. And again, that pretty much wraps up a very short video for ZHA. Pretty simple to understand as far as build wise. And again, hopefully it's helpful for those new to Smite or just new to ZHA. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.